Like you feel the bell.
It just hits different.
You know what you like. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Right?
Maverick.
Dude, it's goosebumps. I'm feeling goosebumps. I'm like,
Give him a goosebumps. Yeah, pun intended.
Well, you know.
Goosebumps, huh? Talk to me, Goose.
Inverted.
Give him the bird.
It's like,
This is the Advocacy Podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm Tristan.
Episode 18 of Season 2.
Season 2.
Yeah. And,
Clearly, everybody has to know what that is.
dude,
If you don't,
you've seen Maverick, right?
absolutely. But I mean, this is Top Gun. Like
Talk to me.
if you
Talk
talk to me, Goose.
Talk to me, Goose.
I'll-
Talk to me. And then
Talk
talk
to
to
me,
me, Dad.
Oh, Miles Teller.
Oh.
You heartbreaker, you. Oh my lord.
Oh, and then, all right. So I enjoy the entertainment value of that movie. Was
Yep.
there? There was entertainment. It was thick.
Yeah.
The part that I don't like is they didn't name an enemy.
The unnamed.
It was a rogue nation with Gen 5 fighters.
Dude, it had to be. You got to. Okay, so
There's only
I don't know.
besides us. There's only handful of other countries that have those.
first of all, that song rocks. Top Gun anthem was like probably one of the greatest anthems ever written for a movie.
If I was like a pro fighter, that might be my walkout music.
Good fight song. Good.
Good,
Oh, okay.
good
That'd be all right. I feel like Danger Zone would be better though.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, or like then you
Okay.
have-
hold on. Yeah. I mean, like I feel like if we walk,
it's the way. It's
like
not
it's-
like Hell's Bells or other
No,
songs. Or like everybody
but-
else.
but you're like, you have the sunglasses and everything.
But they lose me when they show Kenny Loggins singing it because it like
Kenny, he's a genius. And I love his music, but like in this video, you're like, what the hell is going on here?
I'm laying on my bed with like a pirate shirt.
Yeah.
It's like the shirt, right? You watch Seinfeld, right? Where Jerry with a puffy shirt. Yeah.
Wait,
Like Kenny Loggins
for
wears
real.
the puffy shirt.
You know what's even better though? Is like I absolutely want to see Justin Timberlake do this with his ramen noodle.
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, because I feel like it would just totally be on the money. It would be just well right.
But in Maverick, I even like the part where they show up and they even had the Kawasaki like crotch rocket.
It was
That
classic.
Mm.
The right year and everything. And you're
Mhm.
like, yeah, oh, he
the
kept
bomber
it.
jacket.
Mhm.
I mean,
There was a lot of good things about it. A lot of really good things
there's
about
some
it.
Easter eggs in that movie too.
Tell me about what you found.
So like there was in one scene, it was towards the beginning, they showed the desk of, I can't remember if it was the control center desk or it was the desk of one of the generals. There was a Tom Cruise bobblehead of Maverick on
So-
the desk.
when I get it, I'll have to watch and look for that again.
Yeah,
'Cause I
like
missed
you
it.
see it and you're like, I was like, was that just a Tom Cruise bobblehead right there? Like
I was just
in the movie?
it started playing, tears are rolling down my eyes. I thought I was 13 again. Is that the right age?
You know, it came out in '84, but I mean, it depends on how old you were.
What?
when you
Really?
first-
84?
Yeah, it's an old movie.
No freaking way.
Yeah, dude, Tom Cruise is a baby.
Okay,
in
so
that
I was
movie.
like 5. Holy crap.
Yeah, so I was born.
Yeah.
But I was like thinking, I'm like, there's some other things in that movie, like, because it was kind of funded by the Chinese. Let's be honest,
Dude, he didn't take off the Thailand patch.
I know, but I
Which
mean
is
the
epic.
Taiwan patch.
Yeah, Taiwan, sorry.
Yeah, he left the Taiwanese flag on there, and but that was a point of contention in the movie.
Oh, I know,
they
big
were-
time.
There was talk of like removing that, and there's some other things involved with that, but they never named an enemy. It was like, oh, just rogue nation, Gen 5 fighters, and like, okay, Russia, China, us.
So, okay,
Okay.
the whole not naming an enemy, though. Have you ever seen, like, any of the other 80s jet fighter pilot shows? Like,
I'll even go to like Red Dawn.
no, that's too old.
Okay.
I'm talking, like, for the kids. Like, Top Gun was kind of like, I know it was a romantic whatever, and adults loved it. But, like, for me, it was,
It's still a kid-friendly like thrill movie.
it totally is. They both are.
I mean, you get the middle finger, and that's about it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's not hardcore. And you don't see Jennifer Connelly's hotness do anything crazy. Gosh, she was hot back in the day. Dude, she was. I mean, she looked great now. I'm not going to lie. I mean,
Yeah.
she looks good now. I mean, it just,
well, in the original, obviously, it was Kelly McGillis.
yeah.
I liked the role of the female in this latest movie because she wasn't as like a much of a pushover. If that makes sense. Like, I don't know, Kelly McGillis, I wasn't a huge fan of. I
Well,
thought
I
they
mean-
could have cast that role way better.
When a group of dudes start singing these songs, you just melt.
Just
I mean, you just smell
You
it,
lost
dude.
that love and feeling.
Yeah,
And-
I just like, what are you
I
gonna
mean,
do?
and then Maverick, like I don't want to spoil it for people, but like there's a lot of nostalgia. There's a lot of meat on that bone.
Dude, there's so much nostalgia and so much good feeling. And like, dude, I love how they took the memories and just used the cuts from the VHS because it was
Mm-hmm.
like it felt like a memory because of how
It was like
recorded.
yeah, it was like doing a homage type thing where if they're doing like an in memoriam,
Yep.
especially the goose parts,
Mhm.
like then
So good.
yeah,
Dude, and Miles Teller with the mustache and the sunglasses,
it was
Goose.
kind of uncanny.
I was
Yeah.
like, what in the actual hell? No way.
It was a little enough of a twist where you're like, okay, it's not totally.
Yep.
What was the Anthony Edwards, who played Goose?
Yep.
Wasn't completely him, but it was enough that you're like, I see it.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I
totally,
totally see it.
really good.
Yeah, it was really good.
There was angst in it. There was heartwarmingness. There was,
Campiness. There
There
was.
I mean, okay. To be honest, though, could you have asked for something better? How could you have made it better?
It was written like by a 16-year-old
But
boy, and it was
that-
a Jerry Bruckheimer movie,
and that's how
which means it's
that's how
things
military talks.
exploding, fast cuts to each scene, like a lot of action packed into a short amount of time.
Okay, so-
You know what you're gonna get.
Tom stepped it up and said, "Look, every actor has to be inside of an actual jet doing the stuff."
They filmed the
Freaking insane.
So the part where they're doing the bombing run stuff, like in the
That's
actual
real.
movie, that is filmed in Washington.
oh,
Actually, Abby was
Oh.
telling me that it was filmed not far from their family's cabin, like near Mount Rainier.
that's way cool.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
she's
like super cool.
She's like, I know where that is. Like in the theater, she's like, that's right by my cat. I'm like, that's pretty awesome.
That's pretty badass, actually. Okay.
So, but yeah, it was good. It was quality. Like it was worth the admission. Yeah.
Was your theater packed? Like freaking packed.
It was pretty stinking full.
There were like 4 seats available when I went to buy.
I had one seat next to me, but
I
we
was-
chose the aisle. Like we bought like last minute.
Dude, I was
anyways.
3 rows up because I bought last
Oh,
minute.
See, I was actually in the upper level, which was nice. We were right on the aisle, so it was
that's really nice.
It was sweet. It kind of worked out nicely, but yeah, I think there was only like 6 empty seats.
Yeah. I mean, I got to be honest. I loved it.
I got to tell you this too.
I loved it.
You can thank COVID for this, for going to the theater. I've never seen that much smuggled food and beverage ever in a movie theater as there is now.
People are stepping up their game.
Like they are like, and they're brazen about just walking in with Starbucks, like, "Hey, we're going in. See you later."
Yeah.
There was like somebody that had like a full bag of like McDonald's.
Like it's hard because like I know they make their profit from concessions.
No, sure.
That's where the money.
I mean, you're getting a bottle of Aquafina for
dude, it was
$6.
It's something like after the first like 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, that's when the theater starts getting money off the ticket sales.
Yeah.
So I get it, but I just can't spend that much money, even if it's bottomless popcorn.
Dude, I had to go. I was like, I rarely go to the theater for movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like,
So you had
if
to
I
do
do,
it.
I had to get popcorn.
Yeah, you
I
had to
had
do
to
it,
get a
yeah.
popcorn and a water. I was like, I have to.
I had a Azteca just before.
Okay.
So I was feeling, dude, I ate the entire chimichanga.
Oh,
So good.
so you're full.
I was
nice full
happy.
belly.
Yeah, I was done. I was like, I just need a little water. I'm good. It was a good time, dude. It was, I really enjoyed it. What else? Have you seen anything else recently? It's phenomenal. So I watched all Stranger Things. You probably haven't seen that. Okay. That makes sense. I expected that. It's no big deal.
I have plans to go see Sonic 2 with Owen.
I already watched it.
He watched Sonic 1 yesterday
Okay, good.
because he's on summer vacation. And then I got him with one of those little balsam woods, like planes.
Oh,
you can
nice.
throw.
Yeah, the old school ones.
The old school ones. Like he had put something together, like, here, like knock yourself out for 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Great idea, right? Thought it was a genius move. He's standing there in the living room, turns around and chucks it right at my TV
Yeah, absolutely.
and has the metal tip on the front of it.
Oh no, not the plastic tip anymore.
Mm.
Wow.
So nice little, like, probably, I don't know, 1-inch line in my TV now.
Oh my
Where it
gosh.
broke the display. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
and I'm like,
I feel like
had a great conversation about there are consequences for our actions, even if they're a mistake.
yeah. I feel like for TVs they should make giant screen protectors that aren't expensive as all hell.
At least like fine mesh that hangs down like a net for a football game, like behind the goalpost.
Dude, you can get those really, really fine screen door things.
It would actually cut the glare if you think about it too.
Yeah, big time. That'd be cool. That's a really good idea.
Hey, we're
Really good idea, yeah.
Hey, don't steal our idea. We're gonna
Hey,
be
so
rich.
I showered today. You're welcome.
I'm glad.
And I'm like realizing there's no soap.
We are sponsored by
I was out of it. Well, no, I wasn't out of it. I have it, but I was out in the shower.
Okay.
There was
I
nothing
was gonna
left.
say, like, we're sponsored by
So I'm like yelling,
over there.
Dad,
There.
Patriot. Hey,
Patriot
we're right
Company,
there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, I'm yelling for my son. Dylan, what? I'm like, dude, get in here, which is awkward. Not in the shower with me, but like in the bathroom. Whatever, you know.
I'm not gonna question Dad. All right.
And I'm like, oh, dude. I'm like, I'm out of soap. Can you pick me out one?
okay.
And he hands me sheepdog.
This mint soap I love.
Dude, it's
I
like,
love it.
it is like the most perfect
Summer soap.
mint soap version ever.
That's great for summer too.
Oh, it's so
It's nice and
refreshing.
cool.
It is so refreshing.
I did hose dragger. I had to get a new bar out.
I freaking love. Oh, hose dragger's so good.
I like I used both of my bars of back to back of the hipster repellent.
Oh goodness. See, I take him and I shuffle him. So I go through what I'm
tried,
not
but I
really
just
my
couldn't.
favorites, and then I get to the next, and I'm like, oh, good, I'm here now.
Yeah.
You know.
And then it's like you keep opening one. You're like, oh, I like this one. Why don't I use this one more?
I
And then
struggle, dude, because I bring them everywhere, and I'm like, here,
Yeah.
you need
I
this.
give them out to friends. Like, here's bar soap. And they're like,
Yeah.
what do you want? It's like, trust me, you'll ask me for another one.
Dude, so you can get him at Artful Dodger now, also.
Oh, really?
Tattoo place, yeah.
Okay.
Hooked him up with
You can
Lucky.
shop Artful Dodger. There's that new store downtown in the old not post
Yep.
office building, but it's the one on the corner where not where Kaiju Sushi is, but further up the street. Like literally right across the street.
Yeah.
I found it. It's right across from Crafted.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of spots locally that you can pick it up still at Anchor Coffee. Or
So production's really nice. It hasn't slowed down, which is good.
Yeah.
And it's still the quality it should be. It's the best quality you can have. I'm just kind of surprised, like, at what point in time are we going to see the ramifications of crazy ass expensive gas on our local products here?
it's coming.
Over $5 a gallon. where we're
I
at.
mean, well, look at like the federal rate that you can claim for taxes now. It only went up by 3 cents.
Yeah,
It went from 55 to 58.5, 58 and a half.
which is ridiculous.
That's stupid. It should be somewhere in the 75 to 80%, 80
All day
cent
long.
range right now.
Yep.
To even get remotely close to covering your expenses.
I,
So I'm just receipts on everything, and I'm like claiming fuel this year. Like I'm gonna save more money if I flat claim my gas instead of my mileage.
It's so insane, dude. So insane.
I'm driving the truck now because I sold my car, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
which insurance wise cut my insurance in half.
Well, that's good. Good
Fuel
benefit.
wise, it's doubled.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm spending like $90 every 6 days.
I've been like, man, maybe I want a moped, a little scooter.
I had one, and I'm looking again now. I'm like, I found one the other week. I almost bought it. I was like, this close to buying it.
I'm going to do fat guy in a moped. That's how I feel.
Dude, it's so good too. In
but-
summer, it's so fun.
But I kind of want an old school Honda 50.
Yep, that's what I had. Was a Honda.
Freaking
It was
amazing.
the Honda Aero 50. It was
Yep.
black and red. Had the nice sweet like cursive 80s writing with like blue and pink
Mm-hmm.
like shadowing
kept
behind.
that
Oh,
forever,
dude, it was
dude.
like retro as all get out. It was flipping awesome. That thing, 65 miles a gallon,
That's amazing.
You know how big the tank
it's
was?
Freaking amazing. 2?
1.1 gallons. It was like riding a
Exactly.
weed eater, but yeah.
Well, whatever. It's all
But dude,
good.
you'd bomb around town like 34 miles an hour, just
Mhm.
pinned out. But like, dude, it was
Nobody
fun.
cared.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find me another one. I'm looking.
Hey, so are you noticing any food shortages yet?
A little bit. I mean, eggs are interesting.
Yeah,
Costco,
well-
Costco, like raised their prices on eggs.
How many egg farms have burnt up already? 2, 3?
Hold on, can we cue the X Files theme
Uh,
so we can get into like our
I don't have
conspiracy?
it queued up. I mean, because really, that's how it should. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So
Um,
tinfoil hat time. Yeah, there's, dude. Right. So how
So,
many?
okay.
So we had the avian flu ravaged, right? Then we had chicken farms burned down.
Then we had meat packing facilities burned down,
We had an airplane crash into a meatpacking facility,
which caused it to burn down.
which caused it to burn down. And then we had this week 3,000 head of cattle in Kansas died from heat, all in the same
So
area,
I think
in the same field.
we're
All 3,000
we're-
head.
a little over 60 worldwide have all burned. Now the weird part to me is like, doesn't every place there have an entire sprinkler system throughout?
Yep.
How?
We should play back Napoleon Dynamite to see if there's sprinklers in the chicken farm that he was in.
I'm almost 100% positive there were sprinklers in the whole thing. Like you don't
There
have
would- there'd have to
you
be
don't
for-
have a facility like that and not have those
for sure.
to protect all of your equipment and stock and everything. Like
Can chickens swim?
Have you seen all the potatoes they're dumping in just the random fields and like whatever?
Yeah. Oh, and then Bill Gates bought up all that farmland.
All of it.
I mean, there's.
I don't know, man.
It's what's next? Groundwater.
Like legitimately. I mean, well, they're talking about how they're finding random chemicals in the water. Flint, Michigan, there was a dude. I watched the video. There's a guy that created. He's like a military engineer, whatever. Created this like big green machine that literally pulls water out of the air, and it goes in these tubes, and people can use it. And in
Yeah.
Flint, Michigan, he recently talked about how it was vandalized, and he was like, it wasn't like somebody vandalized, like some dude, but someone with actual mechanical engineering knowledge had to have gone in to screw it up.
So there's a town in Arkansas where Johnny Cash was born
Oh, cool, Man in Black.
that has a giant water tower with Johnny Cash painted on the side of it.
Sweet.
Somebody shot Johnny Cash right in the man region on the water tower with a large caliber rifle. And so Johnny Cash has now been peeing for over a week and a half.
Johnny cashed me outside and pissed on me.
It's Johnny R. Kelly.
Johnny, what? Hey,
Sorry.
if you don't move, is it really assault?
I mean, it's a silhouette, so. But
Well,
it's like the
yeah,
man
you
in
know.
black. And he's
Wow.
like standing there with his guitar, and he's just like, literally looks like he's peeing.
Like that's epic, and that sucks all because that's an
it's-
expensive fix.
That is an expensive fix. 1, 2.
Oh no, it's not, dude.
It's not, dude.
You just
Flex
slap the
Seal.
thing on, exactly.
Where's the Flex Seal
Done.
guy at? Done. Problem solved.
Scuba guy in there, get her done. That's it. Oh,
You don't have to do it
really
on the
simple,
inside.
yeah.
Just go on the outside. Bonk.
You think it'll handle that pressure? Because it's got a lot more pressure than that.
Oh, dude, it's like that's a massive
lot of
water
pressure.
tank. But like they did the estimate of like how much water has come out of it, and it has like kept their well on consistently now
Oh
because it's having to continually refill. Like it's sad, but at the
Flex
same
Seal
time
all
it's
the
kind
way.
of funny. But yeah, Flex Seal that bad boy. Problem solved, right? If we work on a boat on an infomercial, come on.
dude, I would have somebody weld on like a like in Robin Hood, Prince of Men in Tights.
Yeah.
Her little chastity belt.
Chastity
I would
belt, like,
totally
weld
have
a
somebody
chast-
weld on a chastity
on the
belt
outside.
on the outside of Johnny Cash. Because if it's there, you might as well just
I
make it
would
work.
love to see a giant Acme cork.
Awesome. That'd be fun.
like
Oh,
Looney
dude,
Tunes
that'd be
style.
fun. Sweet.
That'd be so funny.
So, okay. We're not conspiracy theorists, but we are
aren't.
noticing weird things happening. That you can't deny. I mean, you just can't deny it
Do we wanna
unless
get
you really want to.
Do we want to get into COVID results real quick?
Wow.
Vaccine.
Oh my gosh, do we really want to talk about? Okay, go ahead.
So I can't remember if we talked about it in the last episode. So we had the breast milk or not breast milk, the formula shortage, right?
Suck a boob episode? No, okay.
The formula
shortage,
shortage, right? You know, we've been suffering with that and having to fly in formula from Europe and all that stuff. So if you go into the lab studies, which have recently been released from the Pfizer vaccine,
Yes.
that was the Comirnaty, which has been approved by the FDA but never actually given to any people. Sorry,
Now
to
it's
say
going to
that.
be part of the whole vaccine schedule for kids.
Yeah, and I'm this is disgusting and pissing me off to no end. So that got approved based on the test from lab rats in Belgium. or
I remember
France.
this, yes.
Yeah, believe it was only 48 lab rats that had to go through the trial in order to get approval for people. And in that, they tested it on pregnant lab rats. Do you know what happened to the pregnant lab rats that got the vaccine?
Everyone lost the baby, didn't it?
No, not all of them. They stopped producing breast milk. They stopped producing milk.
Wow.
So I know that the Bayer plant that was in Texas, I believe, that was one of or Abbott, that had the production plant for formula shut down.
Mhm.
I do understand that one. But if you're looking at a 10-fold increase in women that have been failing to at least produce 30% decrease in breast milk production.
That's amazing.
Think about how many now more women are having to supplement with formula.
Yeah.
So now your need for formula has 10-fold increased, right?
hmm
And we're like, and we're wondering why we have a formula shortage? I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm like, I'm no genius, but like, this makes sense.
There's just
And then now it's like vaccine. Oh, we have, what is it? Sudden adult death syndrome.
Just out of nowhere. Oh,
A sudden adult death syndrome. Okay, what's it caused by? We don't know. I mean, we don't want to admit. It's actually in those documents why it's happening.
I've seen them. I read it.
Yeah, I read it too. There's a
People-
website. If you want it, you can message us on the.
Message Ryan. He'll let you know.
There's a website that has it dumbed down. They hired. It's actually a liberal doctor. She openly voted. Like I said, I voted for. I stand for medical information. I don't stand for politics. And
Wow.
she found 5,000 other doctors worldwide to take those Pfizer documents and actually break them down to like layman's terms, what it means.
That's cool.
And so
That's really cool,
they've been
actually, yeah.
going through it and releasing it. And it is holy freaking crap.
I believe it.
I will never put that poison in my body. And I'm just going to openly say that. Like, I mean, I was like, you do you, boo. If you think it works, whatever. Now I'm like, I will openly tell you, no, don't do it.
You know I won't get it, so
Yeah, I'm not never gonna.
not gonna happen.
I'm not gonna put that poison in my body. Are you kidding me?
I watched What Is a Woman?
Did you? The previews have been amazing.
Homie,
I've heard it's awesome.
it is
I heard it's also terrifyingly sad.
absolutely. It's both. Everyone needs to watch it. Everyone.
I like Matt Walsh.
Hmm?
I like Matt.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He ends the documentary perfectly. But like you're watching it and you're like, these guys are experts? Like what in the actual hell is going on?
You know, because it's Pride Month, right?
Mhm.
And I saw a post out there, and it was like, you know, pride is not love, right? It's one of those things like love is not prideful. It does not
Yep.
boast. Like if you go into the Bible, it talks about like what love is and what love isn't. Pride is not love. We look at acceptance, and everybody wants acceptance now for like this lifestyle. I'm sorry, you're never going to get acceptance 100% of things, right? And if you're going to be forced into acceptance, we can have tolerance. Let's have that conversation. Tolerance means that there's going to be opposing viewpoints that exist within the same arena,
Mhm.
right?
And
You can
tolerance is great.
And tolerance is great, right? Because you need it to be able to function in a normal society. You're not going to agree 100% of the time with everybody.
Correct.
But now you're being asked to agree 100% of the time, no matter what. Even if it violates your personal religious views, you need to accept it.
So I follow a gay conservative.
Okay?
Not the one not what's his face, the the main one that's out there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The
what
one
is-
that's like super.
Actually, I follow a couple of them. Yeah. And this one cat, he's a black like gay cat from I think it's like Arizona or whatever, maybe Texas somewhere.
Yeah.
Super cool. And he was actually talking about he was like it's Pride Month, and he's like I should be happy, but he was like, there's no reason to praise and devote an entire month to sexual preference.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's kind of got me, and I'm like, wow.
Unless it's to fundamentally deconstruct normal society, I could see it.
But I was like, wow. I was like, that's really, really, I mean, that's deep, because that's so true. We don't have straight month. There's nothing like that. There's no,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, like, I understand that we force this agenda of like, everybody should be super proud of who they are no matter what they are. No, I guess it's okay. Although if you're a pedophile, you should be super proud that I'm coming after you.
What, you want acceptance, so now I have to accept pedophilia? If you're a drug addict, I have to accept your drug habit?
But I mean, like, there should be tolerance month.
Yeah.
Where we tolerate those things that make us amazing people because we're different and diverse. Or diversity month would actually be better, wouldn't it?
I believe that was in an Office episode, too.
Oh, maybe there is that. I don't know, man.
I'm
I don't
saying
know.
that jokingly, but yeah.
But like, I everybody has their own value, and I totally believe that wholeheartedly. And I feel like, hey, you know what? If you're, I don't know what the plus is, but the LGBTQ, isn't G and Q the same? And L?
Yeah, gay and queer. What's the difference between gay and queer?
I don't know.
You're more gay?
I don't know what the plus is either.
So, like, are you $9 queer? Like, clearer than a $9? Like, you're
It doesn't make
times-
sense to me.
3 times the gay?
It confuses me. But anyway, you know, hey,
I say that jokingly,
if
but
that's who you are though, right? Okay, great. Be who you are.
yeah,
But your sexuality, again, and I've said it multiple times, does not define you as a human being.
no, absolutely not.
You define you as a human being, not your sexual preference, not whatever. That's not the lead in your life. I don't run around boasting about how I have straight sex and how great or bad I am at it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, like, that's not what defines me. Me as a human being defines me.
Well,
My heart.
You know, I wrote something on social media the other day. It was between a person that we both know, that had commented on something because there's been some backlash here locally with things that have happened.
Did I read this?
I don't
Is
know
it?
if you read this or not.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, ooh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
go ahead and read it. So
So I got sent something saying like, why would anything related to Pride Month bug me? Acceptance is a beautiful thing. And they had posted a friendly reminder that you don't need to be fully understand the nuances of gender identity to know that each individual person knows who they are better than you ever will. Okay, first off, what's good for you is good for you, and what's good for me is good for me is not a healthy tenet in the slightest in society. That's not. And in my life, I live with a Christian biblical worldview. That's not biblical at all.
Mhm.
So I said, like, expecting acceptance by everyone is narcissistic in definition. I'd say seeking tolerance is easier to assume, but me living as a hetero white Christian male single father, not everybody's going to accept me, my role, my point of view, my lifestyle. That's simply not possible. It's like, it cannot be expected.
well, it's almost like we're being persecuted right now anyway. So.
Yeah. People can agree to coexist with me without forcing me to stop being who I am. That is tolerance, not acceptance. Regardless, acceptance is up to every individual. It shouldn't be an expectation. Tolerance or allowing those people who have their space, regardless of agreement of their individual choices, is much easier for society to function.
Mhm.
I can have tolerance to pretty much anyone because forcing my beliefs on others isn't loving. Respect for others is love. Acceptance for others is not love, especially say the choices are destructive. How is accepting something that is destructive showing love? If you are forcing acceptance of any lifestyle, sexual preferences, gender roles, religions, etc. on others, it isn't respecting of the free choice of the other people around you. I'm not going to embrace someone's severe drug habit, pedophilia, violations of my faith, harming of others, etc. in the names of being accepting, no matter what media and social movements tell me to do.
It's true, dude. We've let the entire movement go too far.
Yeah.
And like part of that also is like, I always hear people talk about, you know, oh, you have to accept me or accept this or whatever. We don't have to accept people and their bad behaviors.
Yeah.
And we're not saying this about the LGBTQ. I'm just saying in general, if someone has bad behaviors and bad attitude, you don't have to allow them in your life.
Exactly.
Period. Like we don't have to put up with them no matter the excuse. If you don't add any value to someone's life, then you shouldn't be in it. So like if you want to blame your actions or issues on diagnosis, then you and your diagnosis need to leave my life. And I don't understand. Here's the worst part. Why have we taught our kids that they have to accept people? They should be taught, I don't have to put up with somebody that's being bad to me.
Yeah.
It's not okay. Do you have enough cord there? Like,
Yeah, we're good.
pull it around. I'm sorry.
I cut my right ear
I
out
didn't
for a
really
second.
pull it. Yeah, I didn't really set that up right.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Good. No, you're fine.
But it's true though. I mean, like I was thinking about it. I'm like, my kids, you know, they're taught to accept people in their life. And there are a lot of narcissistic little schmucks out there that treat other kids like dirt. And then you're like, your kids are like, oh, I have to accept them. No, you can walk away. Walk the hell
I'm
away.
going to tell my son, and it's something I teach him. Not everybody's ever going to accept you. Nobody owes you.
And you
that.
don't owe them.
Yeah. And you don't owe to accept them. Like you can tolerate people. You're not going to, you don't have to love everybody. Like
Yep.
as far as the gushy, warm.
Of course.
Yeah. You can show them respect. If their car breaks down on the side of the road, help them out. Like if
cool.
if there's a gay person out there, then I'll use that for an example since that's what we were talking about with Pride Month. That their house burns down and they don't have any food to eat. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to make them a freaking meal.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what good people do.
Yeah, that's what proper people will do. Absolutely.
Am I going to do it because they're gay, or am I going to do it because they're a person and they're worthy of being helped?
Mm-hmm.
It's because they're a person worthy of being helped. The difference would be as if their house burned down and they said, I need help. And then I asked them, "Are you gay?"
Yep. And said, "Oh no, I can't."
"Oh, I can't. My religion doesn't let me help you." Like, and by the way, the Bible doesn't say that. That's
No, it doesn't say that at all.
So I mean, it's like,
There are other ones that say not good things.
yeah, there are other religions out there, and I brought one up, and I got attacked for bringing it up because it totally shot down an argument. And I'm like, okay, fine. One, it's arguing on the internet, but two, like, you know, they don't want to hear it. If they're in a particular like mind frame, and you try to bring the levity of like tolerance versus accept, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear tolerance. They want to hear the strong-handed ideas of what they want to have happen, and it's going to force other people into a mindset.
It's tough because we want everybody to be good people.
Yeah.
And we feel like forcing people to accept our worldview is the way to do it because everyone feels like they're right. Everyone. Hey, you have to accept this. This is what this means because we want to, it's much like dating. We want to impart our feelings, our emotions on the person across from us to go, you're everything I want you to be. And when you find out they're not, then you get crushed.
Love me or else you're a bigot.
And that's kind of how it feels. Yeah.
That is what it is.
It's just, it's one of those things and you're like, we've got to let go of that and go, no, you and I can disagree on a lot of things and you and I disagree on things often, but that's where good conversation comes in. That's where talking does. And even if we don't agree at the end, it doesn't matter. We still tolerate a viewpoint.
Yeah.
It might not be for you. It might not be for me. That's just how it is.
But in the same token is that, you know, like, where are your fundamental truths? Like, where is your line in the sand as far as if you're going to bend the knee? Is somebody asking you literally to let go of your fundamental core beliefs in order to make them feel better for a month?
And it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all. And it's like, oh, they're setting us back to this. This has been in existence. You know what? Faith has been in existence as long as being gay.
Well, but the difference though is that Pride Month, from what I've seen, and I know some, like I said, I know some amazing gay people, some freaking over the top, phenomenal people, but it's like when I see a Pride parade and it's just flaunting sexuality everywhere. I'm like, I'm really confused.
Well, especially when they try to force it to kids. If it looks like pedophilia and it talks like pedophilia, I mean, how far are you away from it?
Kids should not be any part of that at all. If you're a child and your parents are gay, cool, that's awesome. But I don't think your parents are out there like throwing their genitals everywhere.
And throwing dildos at you if you're 7 years old, trying to give you a dildo so you understand what sex toy is.
It's
like, what does that have to do with sexuality?
Well, what does it have to do with being gay?
I don't get it.
That's where I'm confused. What does that have to do with being gay?
It's the equivalent of like, you'll see in the news once in a while where a deadbeat dad will like leave a kid in the car while he goes into a strip club.
Mm-hmm.
Even that dad, in his absence of mind and the depravity of his act of like wanting to go to the strip club, will not bring the kid into the strip club, right?
At all.
But yet, if it happens at a public park, and it's no different if it involves a cross-dresser, you see a community that's like, no, the depravity line goes away here. The kids are welcome. Go ahead and bring them on in. I would have the same feeling if it was a 19-year-old stripper from State Line, like the dance club, dude, like being in a public park and showing her like bits to everybody. Like, I would have the same feeling.
That's a no-go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like Christina Aguilera. Did you see that?
Why does she have a Hulk penis on her? Like,
it was all. I don't. It doesn't make any. It was all. I don't understand.
I don't get it. What does it have to do with being gay? What is a big green wiener attached to your?
If you're part of the LGBTQ plus, whatever that is, the end %, if you're part of that, sorry,
infinity sign.
I can't help it. It's who I am. You guys know that. I apologize.
The infinity sign. Yeah.
Well, like seriously, I don't understand. Like you guys, you need to start stepping up and going, look, this is not right.
Yeah.
You got to go, hey, we are humans. We are better than this. And not everything is about genitalia.
Like, and what I understand,
especially if you're talking about things that are not genitalia.
If you want acceptance as like being a normal sexual preference, treat it with the same morality as heterosexuality.
I mean, some of those are not so amazing though, because you get.
I know you got porn, like, yeah. I get it, but like, if with the mindset of like, if there's a marriage celebration in the park for a hetero couple, are they going to be throwing around sex toys and have like wieners and?
Well, I mean, okay. Else? So if you had a parade, well, I guess there are straight parades all the time, right? If you count any random parade, that would be that. Mardi Gras is. We all know Mardi Gras is a
the
deviant
end
style
of Lent, yeah,
parade.
the Lenten
It gets
season.
crazy.
Or it's before Lent. Is it before or after?
I don't know.
Remember.
But I
yeah,
mean,
whatever.
Mardi Gras gets crazy. There's
Fat
boobs and
Tuesday.
whatever everywhere.
Yeah.
So we expect it from that, right? But like, man, if you're going to have a parade, have a parade. Don't make it a walk of sexual whatever and be like, oh, accept it for this. No, man, like be there. Walk hand in hand. Wear regular clothes. Be who you are, because whoever's walking through that parade, that's not who those people are, I would hope.
You know what I think? I mean,
You know what I mean? Like,
because it looks like it's just crying for attention. It really is what it appears to be. It's like, you need to look at me, so I'm going to do something so ridiculous that, like,
and
I mean, there's no reason for a 6'4" dude, black dude, to be in a woman's thong with a wig, suggestively dancing for kids.
I agree.
What does that prove?
That doesn't make it, like, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't get it. I know it's family friendly, and maybe I sound like old man on the front porch yelling at cars going by.
No, but it's true.
don't
I
know.
mean, like, children, let them be children. I mean, that's what I say. Children should be children.
Because what it's doing actually is in
You're-
some, and especially in the younger males, we wonder why, like, oh, why are there so many hate groups popping up? You're going so far that you're making a lifestyle choice become associated with something that you cannot, it's like becoming tangible.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a video of like something on the internet. It was of kids. They painted in honor of Pride Week at a high school, or Pride Month at a high school. They colored the stairs rainbow. There were boys in that school that refused to touch the stairs with their feet. So they were literally climbing up the railing because they refused to walk on the gay stairs. So like, you wonder why we end up with hate groups that are now targeting the homosexual community. You've told those kids that if you don't prescribe to our thought process, you're a bigot. Well, I'm not going to want anything to associate with you either. If you're going to start telling me that I'm a horrible human being because I don't accept your lifestyle choice,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's no different than me telling you you're going to hell for being gay. It literally, there is no difference.
No, not at all.
It's like, I mean, what does my approval of your sexual preference have to do with how you
I mean, like,
treat people?
what you do behind closed doors, as long as you're not hurting anybody or with a minor, right?
And so I say this as a Christian, right? Is that if that's the choice that you want to make, there's the consequences for your choices that you want to make, just like how there is for mine. If I want to go gamble, if I want to delve into porn, if I delve into drug use, alcohol, whatever it is, okay, whatever sin is sin is sin is sin is sin, right? If I make that about my lifestyle and I live it, there's going to be consequences for anything. Guess who doesn't have a say in the consequences of those actions?
Yep.
You. You can tell me that it's not right.
I mean, the whole, like,
If you love me, you would tell me,
So-
like, hey, what you're doing is, like, in the eyes of God, like, that's not great. But also, you have to make the conscious choice to choose. If you don't want to, I'm not going to make you.
yeah. And I mean, from my side, I mean, you don't, my kink is, and your kink, it might be two different things, but it's still, it's a kink. If you
Yeah.
have that, I don't know if I have a kink, honestly, I'm not going to lie. And it's just, I'm very boring. But yeah, I am.
That's another episode later.
We'll talk about that later. It's ladies. We'll turn the lights down low and light some candles for that one.
But
But
no,
no,
I mean,
so serious. But like, I'm not going to tell you who and you cannot love, but make it about love. Pride Month doesn't seem to be about love. It seems to be about the sex, and that's where the issue happens. If it was a love thing, I feel like it's a totally different story.
Yeah.
And we're not talking making love. We're talking if you love, then make your parade about love and loving everyone, and not a giant.
why couldn't it be and it's like, you're not going to get the fundamental, like, Muslim person to accept homosexuality, right? Because how they celebrate Pride
we
Month
can't
is
say
complete- Yeah, but we can't say that, right? So, like, okay, let's pick on the Christians because they're the easy target.
Which is true. I mean, we absolutely are, because we don't talk much. We don't say a whole lot, whatever. But like,
Yeah.
But I mean, like, there's a very large misconception about that whole fact, and we might go, "Hey, we don't agree with your lifestyle, But we're not saying we don't love you.
Yeah, it doesn't mean I'm not going to go have
Yeah.
coffee with you. Like,
Yeah,
I
we're-
mean, like, let's sit down and we can talk out our indifferences. At the end of the day, we're going to find out we probably have more things similar than we have things different.
Yeah. I mean,
There's some big differences, but like, I mean,
where you put it doesn't matter to me.
if you treat me with respect, like, I mean, that's the thing, employers
Dude.
that force their employees to wear, like a rainbow button or put something on their desk for Pride Month, and they're forcing their employees to do it, whether they agree with it or not. You're not teaching tolerance
At all.
at all. Now you're not making it a choice, that person. And guess what? They're going to be 10 times more likely to resist.
Well, I mean, that's how you build resentment up anywhere.
It's
That's normal.
It's no different than forcing people to put like a cross on their desk and observe Easter.
Yeah.
It's no different.
Could you imagine the uproar about that?
Oh
That
my
would
gosh.
that'd be insanity. It'd be crazy. Like now though, if a kid or a child feels like he is a certain animal, in different school districts, they are required to treat that child as such animals. So the child can
I'm a
sit there.
dinosaur.
Well, I mean, there's more like cats and dogs,
I know.
and the child can sit in there and meow and purr and hiss.
Or like the horse girl that we showed.
Yeah, and the teachers have to treat them like it's okay.
It's going too far, because now you're encouraging what is normal. Kids are going to question things, right? They're going to
Well,
push the envelope.
Kids are going to abuse things. That's what kids, dude, as a human, as an adult, I do that. You give me 5 miles per hour over the speed limit, I'll take it.
I'm going 5.
I'm going to
go
push a bit
7.
more.
I'm going to go 7 because 5 is the limit now.
And once you give me 7, I'm going to go 10. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's human nature, though. Like, we push the envelope a little bit further.
It's what we do.
And then now you're excusing it. And like now you're not setting boundaries. And kids need boundaries, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And so you look at like, how does this whole like conversation affect kids and raising kids in today's society? I think it has a huge deal with raising kids in
Well,
society.
imagine those kids growing up as little meow people and rough people, dog and cat people, of course. What are they going to do when they go to work? What in
Go
the
work at
actual
Purina?
hell is going to happen when these children that we haven't
Sorry.
disciplined, that
Go
we
work at
haven't raised
Petco.
properly to actually interact with other people,
Sorry.
are they going to be in there meowing and hissing at people at the workplace?
Maybe if they work at Petco.
I'm still saying, how are they going to get the interview?
I don't know.
They're going to be eating hamsters.
They're gonna ask for their
But-
paychecks right now.
We're yeah, basically. We are,
It'd be pretty rough.
dude, we are screwing our children. That was awful, by the way. Both those were actually really bad. I know you were trying, but I'm like, you're going to play the meow game? Is that what we're doing?
No, because it looks rough.
I know, I got the rough one too. But I mean, like, we have to step back and do what's right for our kids. I'm supposed to prepare my children for the future.
Absolutely.
If I don't teach them how to cook and how to clean, how to take care of themselves, how to interact, how to handle stress, I fail them. That's my job, failing them. Every parent out there that's like, oh, I'm going to let my kid be a cat or whatever,
I didn't know that 1984, the book,
was going to happen.
was written to be a premonition of what would happen in the future.
That's why Idiocracy was written also.
I know, dude. It's
Yeah.
especially with Brondo, right? Now we're actually going to see the water effect. Water's bad. It's
Dude,
got
well,
electrolytes.
okay.
It's got electrolytes, man.
Well, they tried to say meat was really bad for you. Now they've killed all the cows, and well, not all of them, but a lot.
Yeah.
They're going to make actual meat more expensive than not meat.
And not meat's expensive. It's
And-
hard to make.
And they're going to go, here's not meat. I can patent this. You can eat not meat all day long. And then we're all going to get, dude, we're going to get all that estrogen and soy, and we're all going to be like, oh, just
Become
chill.
soft
Yeah,
and-
and that's what it is.
You know what I'm going to do?
What's that?
Poach the crap out of animals.
When it gets down to time,
Dude, I'm
we're in that area.
caveman in the woods.
Yeah.
I'm going to see an elk and I'll live.
Dude, so,
And have burgers, steak, and backstrap.
yeah. No, yeah.
The inner
I
Ted
love
Nugent.
that. It's so good.
I'm
dude.
sorry. I listened to Ted Nugent last week and I'm like, I feel so bad that people
Yeah.
don't get the pleasure of like listening to him often.
Yeah.
As much of like he's villainized as being a psychopath, the dude actually comes off very intelligent if you really listen to what he says.
People like to pick and choose. That's how it is.
Yeah.
People really enjoy.
He's
picking and
very
choosing.
big on living a clean and sober life.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He's like, what's that? What's that metal lifestyle that's like no drugs, no whatever?
Straight edge.
Yeah, he's like the first straight edge ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
But like,
Ted.
and you listen to talking to Mike, and it was like, because he was a huge Trump supporter, so he gets written off. But actually, a lot of his stuff that he talks about isn't Trump policies. It's just
No.
common sense.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I like Ted. Like, I start listening. I'm like, I like listening to him talk a little bit more. Like, he brings a different. He talks like a grandpa. Like, he cares about his grandkids a lot, and
I
that's
had
why
breakfast the other day at the Roost.
Yeah.
And there was this old timer coming in there, just chatting and having fun and talking to his old buddy. And I was like, I like this dude next to me. It's cool.
Yeah.
We have to get back. We have to get back to values and morals, and not forcing people to accept everything I do.
You know, it's like if I'm.
I mean, you might hate my car. Hate my car. It's okay, right?
You know, it's like
I don't like your Prius.
everybody.
I don't.
I don't have a Prius.
I know.
Abby does.
Oh, I'm sorry, Abby. But I still don't like your Prius. I just never have.
I have a friend that
can't-
has a Prius that has a bumper sticker, and it's like, I drive this Prius to save on gas so I can buy more guns.
I accept that answer.
It's like,
But
that's
guns in the
good.
back of a Prius just sounds weird.
I love Black Rifle, bought a Prius, and mounted a turret on the top of it.
I'm going to have to find it.
It's awesome.
Totally awesome.
It's a Prius with a turret.
Dude, so I guess at some point in time, we should probably talk about what we're talking about.
Yeah,
think?
maybe, yeah.
So this has really been taking me off, like really, really bothering me lately. And it's when parents try and outshine their children.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I saw that a lot coaching.
oh gosh, dude. Like, once you have kids, you can still be you and do you, and that's fine. But when you try and live your life through your children, or you try and use your kids as a way to seem amazing.
It's graduation season, right?
Yeah.
That just makes me, it just screams of everybody knows a mom of like one of their friends or somebody that was in their class that like around graduation made, instead of graduation being the moment for their child moving on, it was about mom losing
Their kid.
the kid to growing up. Or it could be a dad for that matter, but most of the time you see it with mom. Dads, you see it a lot with sports.
You ever been
Yeah.
to a Southern Baptist church
Yes.
and like someone gets slain in the spirit like every
Oh, yeah.
Sunday? That's it.
Benny Hinn, bodies at the floor.
Dude, that's it. That's what it
If
is.
you want a good, entertaining YouTube view, just search Benny Hinn bodies at the floor. And it is literally a compilation of Benny Hinn
It's-
videos, people being slain in the spirit,
Yeah.
set to System of a
That's
Down.
pretty awesome. But like, I mean,
It's awesome.
I don't understand why these parents have kids and then they don't start lifting their children up. All they do is they put the kids down, or they force the kids in situations they want to be, so that the parent can go out and do whatever they want and then use this child as like a little trophy and go, look at my trophy child. My child does all of this. Isn't it amazing? But behind closed doors, they treat that child like dirt and just like a little
Beat him up as a
slave house
possession.
worker. Yeah, it just freaking, it ticks me off.
There is a delicate balance in that though, because like you'll see it sometimes in very hyper religious families. So there's a few verses like, you know, don't overpraise your kids, keep them humble. Like you don't want them getting a big head. That's taken out of context, one.
Yeah.
But two, like you do praise your kids for the things that they do, but you also teach the humility aspect. That it's, you know, okay, don't talk about yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I actually read a story. There's a friend of mine that I went to high school with. It's he's in second right now in the U.S. Open in PGA.
Oh, that's amazing.
He's in second.
That's amazing.
And they interviewed him, and they're like, "Hey, you've had this great first round. You're tied with Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose, two former winners that are very, very well-known golfers.
Mhm.
How have you had?" And he goes, "My dad told me to be humble. Don't talk about yourself first. Everybody else is playing. I got hot at the end. I'm just lucky to be where I'm at." I'm like, Joel, like, yeah, buddy,
That's awesome.
like, heck yeah. And you know, but there's a big lesson in that, like to talk about others first, and it's something that I saw watching the NFL draft. It was how many of those guys gave credit to the people around them first. And humility is a big thing for success. If you want your kids to be successful, teach your kids to be humble.
Absolutely.
Because any way of success sometimes is like, it's a blessing, right? If you're a person of faith, you're successful because it's a gift. It's been given to you. You have to treat it as such. Nothing is earned, like nothing is just given out of like deserving it. You have to go earn it. But in the earning, you have to remain humble. That you know that it's a gift. Like it didn't have to happen that way.
Even if you worked your butt off on it.
Yeah.
You can have pride and be proud of the fact you worked your butt off and achieved something, but you remain humble by going, you know what, I worked my butt off. This is how I got it.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. It's pretty simple.
It's like, and in coaching, and I'm not throwing this in like a coaching podcast this episode, but like, you see it a lot at sports where the kids are groomed by dad or mom or whatever, that like, you're going to be a pro athlete. You're going to be a professional baseball player. You're so good. You're amazing.
Well, like cheerleader life.
Yeah. I mean, that's big too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're groomed. It's like there's perfection. You can't do anything wrong. And even when there is shortcomings, it's given excuses. Oh, it's the other kid's fault. If they have your kid has a crappy attitude and things didn't go the way and there's like dissension within the team, it's the team's problem, not your kid's problem.
Dude, so are regular sport parents as bad as cheer parents, where it's like, the mom peaked in high school, she was a cheerleading whatever, probably didn't become the head cheerleader, and then like now is forcing their kids or their daughter or their whatever boy, son or daughter, and everything's cheer, but then it's like, oh, we're going to stack all this other random crap on you and make it so that you don't possibly have a chance to take a break. And if you fail at all, it's just the world's over.
Yeah,
I can't fathom that, man. Like,
it's a lot of pressure on kids.
Yeah, no freaking kidding. Like, I don't think an adult would last.
And you start it at a young age. I mean, you wonder why burnout exists, right? It's like,
well, and you wonder why so many kids want to commit suicide, because they're never good enough for you. Like,
they're given unrealistic expectations. They have the expectation. They've been told their entire life, you're going to be a professional athlete, or you're going to be a college cheerleader, you're going to be whatever, and this is what's going to happen. What happens when it doesn't? Because the chances of becoming a Division I athlete is 3 out of 100 go on to play Division I football or Division I athletics, period. Right? 3 out of 100.
The one thing my mom always told me, because I thought I was the most badass martial artist ever on the planet. I thought I was pretty good, and I was pretty decent. I mean, that's just being real. Was that there's always somebody better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And I took that to heart with everything.
Yeah.
Always somebody better than me. I got it.
And even if that person's not better than you at this point, there's somebody training to take your place.
Somebody's always working harder.
Yeah.
Which is the crazy part.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people don't realize, hey, you might have a calling to do whatever. I know some people are like, I'm the best at hair ever. That's what I'm supposed to do. And I'm like, why aren't you doing it then? Do it. You know, like, if you're the best, prove you're the best. Make it happen. I don't understand like this whole thought process.
And then you get caught in the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, like the Booby Miles syndrome, if you know what I'm talking about.
I like boobies.
Well, Booby Miles is
I like turtles too.
Character off of Friday Night Lights.
Oh, okay. My bad. I'm sorry. My bad.
Oh, you're good. Booby Miles is a character off Friday Night Lights that thought he was going to go in the NFL. And then he blows out his knee, right? And loses his scholarships, and then he like sulks and everything else. Like, what happens when things hit the fan? You know, have you trained your kid up enough that they're going to be able to push through that adversity?
Probably not.
Because if you're grooming your kid to think that everything's going to be coattailed to them, the moment they face adversity, they're going to fold like a cheap tent.
Yeah, it's over.
And, you know, I was lucky to kind of tell my story. Like, I mean, I've mentioned it before, but like I blew up my knee really bad in high school and my senior year. And my parents did a really good job of encouraging me to be well-rounded. Because teaching your kids to be well-rounded means that you're giving them the ability to be resilient and pliable in situations, especially with difficulties. It's like what some people will say, like the novice of many is the master of none.
Well, there's more to that.
There's more to that saying, because if you don't get to know many things, though, you'll be left with little as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, when one of the things of the many that I was good at was taken away, there was other things that I could have done or adjusted. I adjusted my angle, And that's how I got into coaching. If I couldn't play football anymore, okay, I became a coach.
Mhm.
You know, and that was something I had ended up like getting way more enrichment out of that and investing in other people's lives than ever being on the field and people pouring into me.
Dude, that's the best feeling ever. Investing in other people.
Oh,
That's why being a parent is so freaking rewarding, or can be.
yeah.
Because when you actually invest in your children,
And their
when
friends.
when you humble yourself and you start giving to them, dude. I mean, like, so my daughter came to town.
Yeah.
They're out at the Kellogg Wallacey, I don't know, the gyro days,
Okay.
right? My son went out there, Christian, and he's out there with his best friend, and his best friend, like, I'm his dad.
Yeah.
He came in and said he loved me, gave me a hug, all that. Like, I'm his dad, and I'm like, dude, I couldn't imagine if I wasn't. This is gonna sound stupid. Humble. Can you be humble and admit you're humble, or is that
Humble
not
brag?
humble?
I'm humble, just ask me.
Yeah. Like,
you can
can
admit
you-
being
is
humble.
that-
I think you can say it, but
is
you have
that
to
all
do it
right?
tastefully, yes. Yeah.
did I do it tastefully? That's weird.
I'm humble. Let me tell you how
I'm a
humble I
really
am.
good
I'm
parent.
so good at being humble.
Yeah, I'm so what? Anyway, no, like, but I mean, you guys know what I'm saying. So it's just when I mean, I've invested hours into my kids' friends because I love everybody. I want
Yeah.
to see them succeed and go somewhere with life, you know. And it's like I couldn't fathom being the parent that's like just using my kid as a trophy,
Yeah.
or that is forcing my kid and not seeing the fact that I'm breaking my children down or my child down. Like, could you imagine being the parent that's like, I don't understand why you're depressed, and you don't realize
Stop
it's
being
you
depressed.
doing it?
Yeah. And it's you're beating that kid into depression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, man.
You know, and it's amazing too, because like I've had some great opportunities in the last like 3 weeks to like talk to former athletes of mine that I've coached. It was kids that like, I mean, one of them in particular I had a really good coaching relationship with. Like him and I got to be really close because he was one of my position players.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up he went to a men's breakfast at church with me on Saturday. Like I invited him and he showed up.
That's cool.
It was pretty cool. Another one like randomly messaged me out of the blue because he had a connection with a veterinarian. And I've been having issues with my dog, and he's like reaches out to me, and I'm like, by the way, how are you doing? Like, why are you helping me out? And then he's like telling me like all of a sudden like, oh man, I was in a really dark place mentally, and like I've turned my life around and rededicated my life to the Lord, and I'm like I'm driving towards it, and I'm like, dude, what? Like, yes, like we need
really
to go
cool.
grab lunch, man. He's like, yeah, okay, like that'd be great, and you know, just asking like what they're doing these days. And then I was at the park last night, like feeding ducks with Abby and Owen, and randomly ran into one of the wide receivers I coached like my first year at Lakeland.
Dude, that's really cool.
And he just came back into town for Portland, and there he was standing up. Hey, coach. I'm like, dude, I haven't seen you in like 6 years. Like, what's up?
Dude, that's so cool. That's way cool.
But, you know, and like that's the thing I think I love the most about having that role of pouring into other kids, though, is when they come back and they're like successful, they're adults, and they still see you and they're like, hey, coach, what's up? Like,
That's a good feeling.
and it is a great feeling. But it's not like stroking my ego or anything. It's like letting me know, like, I made a difference. Like, I still have that endearing part in their life that they're willing to still call me coach. That's
Mhm.
pretty cool.
That's very cool, actually. Like, super cool. Isn't it? Like, I feel like there's just the greatest thing in my life is watching my kids grow.
Yeah.
And watching the little path they choose, whether I like it or not. Seeing them take that step and choose whatever, and then come back, or you know, it feels good. So like, dude, a long time ago, my first marriage, I was on the phone with my father,
Mm-hmm.
my real dad, right? And I told him I was getting married, and like his immediate response was, "I'm disappointed in you." That was it. And like at that point in time, I'm like 18, and I was just like, you know what? If that's how it's going to be, that's how it is.
You need
So
to
I
go
give the phone to
inverted.
my sister.
I'm going to go inverted
I'm
on my
totally,
dad.
yeah, exactly, right. But I mean, like, he didn't ask. He didn't tell me why. He didn't even address it properly. Like, if you're going to say something like that, you got to go, well, man, that's awesome. I understand how you feel. You should maybe look at doing these things first. Like, maybe go to college first. Maybe do whatever. Maybe, right? Or make sure you're doing these while you're married. Give me some advice, anything, right? It could have been anything, dude. Any advice or influence on me, but like he just didn't. And honestly, to this day, I don't know why he was disappointed. I have no clue still.
Because he couldn't manage a marriage himself.
I don't know, dude.
You're gonna be more successful than your dad.
I'm okay with that. I'm just happy that, dude, the fact that I love being a parent already equals that.
Well,
I flipping love being a parent. And I love my family. Like, dude, family's amazing. It's everything.
Well, I think the hard part too is that people have a tendency to take the shortcomings of their kids personally.
Yeah.
Parents can internalize their kids' faults.
That makes sense.
And if they didn't, it's like when your kid lets you down, guess what? Your kids are going to let you down. Whether they're 2 or they're 22 or 42 or whatever, they're going to let you down at some point.
I mean, if your kid hasn't said, I hate you recently. Okay, no, not recently. But if they haven't said it once in their life.
Or stormed out of the room and said, this isn't fair. I got the first one last night, like one of the first real ones last night. This is not fair. And like runs out of the room and like stomps and does and like the hip turn thing.
Mm-hmm. Flipping amazing.
Like, you're growing up. Like, I'm laughing internally, but
yeah. You have to.
But at the same time, like, you can't internalize the shortcomings of your kids or even that stuff, that reaction. They're going to have that reaction because not everybody's going to agree 100% of the time. They're going to, in their teenage brain or adolescent brain or child brain or adult brain, are going to see things differently than how you see it.
Yep.
So if our first action is out of love and support for our kids, our first knee-jerk reaction, your dad should have been like, hey, that's great. What are you doing for counseling?
Or something.
Yeah. Or like, hey, that's great.
And that's what should have happened.
It's like, how long have you been? I mean, he obviously didn't know you very well, so I think that's part of the response. But you need to be invested in your kid's life to have a conversation about that. And if I'm gonna step up and tell my parents something like that, like, I know the reaction is gonna be supportive.
Well, I mean, even if you're not active in your kid's life and your child reaches out and says this, you go, hey, you know what? That's great. Here's some advice. This is what I failed at. This is whatever, or anything else, right? I mean, honestly, just anything.
So say it's 15 years from now, and one of your sons comes up to you and he's like, Dad, I'm depressed.
And I go, why?
Stop it. Right? Stop being depressed. Is that going to be your first response? Oh, you have no need. No, be passive about it. Pfft, you got nothing to be depressed about. Look how good things are.
Honestly, sometimes I feel that way. Okay, I'm going to be real.
Yeah, I know.
Because, dude.
I know what you mean by that.
But it's like, we've got all these first world problems, and our kids are like, they have so much angst and so much issues and all this anxiety. And I'm like, how in the crap?
But also heavy.
You don't even have real bullies.
Heavy is the head, right? Like, if you're putting a lot of that stuff on you, like, your first world problems, you give enough first world problems, you're going to get first world results.
Well, I think part of the issue is that a lot of these kids weren't taught how to find the good in things. And it's like, they just sit there and focus, because how many kids go outside and play right now out in the sun?
Not a lot. Well, there is no sun right now, but yeah.
But there has been. I mean, I got some sun.
I know.
But I mean, like, but how many kids, like, legitimately between the ages of, let's say, 8 to 18 go outside and just go outside?
Not a lot.
Most of them hide away from the sun, right? They sit inside. They sit in their room all day long. They play their games all day long. They do whatever. None of these kids are actively doing anything except sitting and sulking. And not like they intend to be. Like, they're not trying to sulk. They're not out ignoring it, I guess is a good way to put it. Because as kids, we used to have issues. And we'd have fights with our best friends or whatever. Like, your best friend would hate you and you'd break up for a minute, right? Because you're best friends. And then you go on with your life and you play and you go outside. Because that's how it wasn't like we avoided it, but that's how you just, okay, I'm going to let it go. And you were friends again.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I don't know, man. Like, there's so much insight and so much only dealing with your problems. And then they're still on Facebook or TikTok or whatever all day long. And you're like, dude, get outside. Like, stop being one with all these negative thoughts and swimming in that, and start walking on the shore.
Well, and it goes back to the adversity thing that we just talked about a couple minutes ago about, like,
dealing with hard things that we talk about all the time.
Well, yeah. And that's like, where do you go when things hit the fan? And do you become a product of your circumstance, or do you become a product of the way you deal with your circumstances?
Do you circumstance your product?
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense in the context.
It does,
and you guys get it.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm following you.
Yeah, totally, right?
But yeah, and in doing so, that if not everything's teaching your kids, not everything's gonna go their way, right? You don't want to raise
Mhm.
a bunch of like kids that are grow up to be helicopter parents. That, like
Yeah.
everything needs to be in their favor. Like if we rob our kids of losing baseball games or whatever, like failing a test once in a while, running and blaming the teacher isn't going to fix the problem. It's like, how about we like go look at what our kid did, and if they genuinely gave their best effort, then go talk to the teacher,
Yeah.
because then it teaches you to stand your ground for your principles.
I mean, the good part is that we don't want to fall into ruts,
Yeah,
right?
oh, absolutely.
I mean, dude, for sure.
And as a parent, it's like, okay, if you don't want to fall into ruts, so I'm going to build a life on rails, right? No, it's
What?
you're not going to establish everything for your kid, right? You're
I
not
got
going
it,
to live
yes.
your life for your kid.
That's the
And then they're going
rails.
to follow your path of whatever you put out in front of them.
Good.
No, you're going to basically put the delineators on the side of the road saying,
Okay.
stay between here and here. I'm going to teach you the right path. But wherever you go in the middle, you're charting your own territory. I'm not going to let you fall off the cliff. If there's a blind
At
corner,
least I'm gonna try.
I'm going to
yeah.
I'm going to try to put the guardrail in place that at least keeps you on the road.
Mhm.
You may skid the tires a little bit and bump into the guardrail, but I'm not going to let you fall off the cliff.
Yep.
And we look at it as parents and we're like, man, it's hard for us, but I can't imagine for the kids. I have to like be empathetic to it and look at like from my child's eyes of like, man, this is a pretty crappy situation for what you encounter. Like,
Dude, that's the hardest thing for parents is to go, how do I look at it from my kid's eyes?
Yeah.
And it's funny because like we were all there. You guys, everybody knows it. We went through it.
and we see everybody else's problems on social media and everybody has a perfect life. So why is my kid encountering crap?
Yeah. Because it's all crap.
It's a false persona. It's a facade.
It is. I love that word, facade.
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 It's a facade.
Yeah,
That's what it's spelled.
I know. Facade.
But like, it's
Oh,
everybody that's negative in your life is doing all these bad things, right? And like says horrible stuff, or horrible stuff happens to you, and like you start thinking that you're a victim, or like teaching your kid to be a victim and instilling that in them is as like unhealthy as anything else. Like
bad things happen to people all the time. All
it's
the time.
it's a form of abuse. It really is. If you don't let your kids
Oops.
if you don't let your kids suffer, like deal with hard stuff and work their way through it, it is a form of abuse because they're not going to build that fortitude to work through hard things later on.
You have to build that character. Why do
Yeah.
I sound? There we go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, your microphone kind of fell.
That was my fault.
Weirdly.
I apologize.
But yeah, I mean, you have to kind of rewire your thoughts and, give the pain a purpose.
It's like, so we all get like a rush every once in a while, right? An adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
So when you go on a roller coaster, initially it's scary.
Yeah.
And you can either wire your brain to go, this is scary the entire time and never go on one again. Or you wire your brain to go, this is amazing and I want to do more.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's two factions of people, scared of them, not scared.
Yeah.
Right. And that's really what it is. They wired their system to go, this is freaking bomb. And then the other person went, nope, 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 nope.
Especially analytical. If you have an analytical mind versus a reactive mind,
Mhm.
reactive people are like, let's do this. I don't care. Like, we'll deal with the consequences when they happen.
Yep.
Analytical person goes, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. It's a process of elimination. And then you get like over-analysis and constipation because of your not like the literal, but like with your actions.
Yes.
Maybe it causes constipation. I don't know.
I can see you clenching and holding that in.
Stress does weird things to the body. But yeah, I mean, like, it's like, hold on, let me overthink this.
Yeah, and that's what's going on. So we just we got to get there, and we got to start treating our kids like kids again.
And
That's how it is.
I don't know. I think we have a tendency as parents to overcomplicate things for our kids.
Yeah, because we hold on to things, and they
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
depending on
resilient.
their age,
They're resilient.
they really
That's
are.
right, yeah.
We've got
So-
to stop worrying so much. We got to start letting our kids be kids again, though, because I mean that's the biggest issue I see.
Let them play caps and robbers.
Let them just be kids.
Let them be cowboys and Indians.
Yeah, like it's okay.
Sorry,
Freaking
you're
people.
not racing. Yeah. All right, get off my lawn.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
Cool.
It's episode 18.
18. It is.
Talk to me, Goose.
Here. Talk to me, Dad.
I got a need. Need for speed.
We all wanted that to happen.
I was so disappointed that it didn't work its way in the movie. Spoiler alert.
That's all right. We got a beach scene, and that's
we
what
did
people really
get
wanted.
Yeah, we did. And
It's actually a really fun beach scene too.
it
Actually.
was. And I actually liked the concept.
It was super, dude. I was
Yeah.
like, that's really, really cool.
Yeah, I was like, I actually kind of want to try playing that.
Yeah,
Now.
totally. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So
Yeah.
for episode 18, season 2, I am Tristan?
I'm Ryan.
Question mark.
I'm Maverick.
And this is
What would your flight name be?
like if I had a call sign?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
dude.
know we're trying to wrap up. Now we're like,
Okay, so I've had this childhood nickname for like ever.
mm-hmm.
It's Trinja
Trinja.
because I was a ninja
Tristan
and
Ninja?
Tristan. Yeah,
Like,
And I'm
just call
like-
you the White Ninja.
I'm kind of okay with that. I think that'd be a super cool.
What was Chris Farley's name in Beverly Hills Ninja?
Oh, I
What
totally
did they call him?
No, I don't remember. It was he was the Great White Ninja though.
Great
but
White
I
Ninja,
totally
yeah.
forget like what his actual name was. Oh my
know.
gosh, that movie's great.
Mine would be like Rhino, because that was my nickname
Oh,
growing
hey,
up as a
I
kid,
like Rhino.
or like Panda or something like that. It was just something funny.
Dude, I know that. So I know the names are given to you, right?
Mhm.
And if you screw up and do something dumb,
You get a really bad nickname.
you get hosed.
Yeah.
And there are many out there that have just horribly awful nicknames. If you guys, anybody listening, if you have parents, grandparents, friends that were like, pilots, let us
them.
know if they have horrible
call signs.
call signs. I need to know.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, and I got to research this now because some
Yeah,
of them
like,
are
totally.
so funny. But
Anyway.
yeah, anyways, for
All right, see you
episode
later,
10,
guys.
See you later.
Take care.